I didn't mean to humiliate her. That's the part that still keeps me up at night. I wasn't trying to be brave, or clever, or impressive. I was just tired of being invisible. When she said, "Translate this, my salary's yours," the room exploded in laughter. 20 executives in $1,000 suits laughing at the janitor with a mop in his hand. At me, and maybe I should have kept my head down like I always did. But something inside me snapped. Not pride, not ego.
Fear.
Because my son's inhaler was almost empty, and the pharmacy doesn't accept dignity as payment. So I walked to the table. I remember the way her eyes looked when I got close. Cold, sharp, annoyed that I had stepped into a space I didn't belong in. Victoria Harrington, CEO, ruthless negotiator, ice in human form. "You accept?" she asked, like I was a stray dog who had wandered into her office. "I do," I said. My voice didn't shake. "I don't know how." The contract was in German. Legal German, dense, precise, dangerous. They expected me to fail fast so they could laugh again. But as I read the first paragraph, something shifted. Not in them, in her. She stopped smiling, her arms uncrossed, and when I began translating, not just the words but the traps hidden, between them, the room grew silent. I could feel her watching me, not mocking now, measuring, and that was the first spark. Not romance, not yet. Recognition. But here's the part no one knows. When I looked up and caught her staring at me, not with contempt, but curiosity, my chest tightened in a way that had nothing to do with contracts. It scared me, because I had buried that part of myself when my wife died. I didn't have space for attraction, or warmth, or hope. But that night in that boardroom, something dangerous began, and I had no idea it would cost me far more than a salary. I told myself it was just adrenaline, that the way her voice softened when she said, "Keep going," meant nothing. But when Victoria walked around the table and stood behind my chair, I felt her presence like heat against my back. Too close, too aware, and I hated that I noticed. I kept translating, clause after clause. Liability traps, intellectual property deception, arbitration in Munich. Every buried knife Schneider had hidden in that contract. The executives shifted from arrogance to panic, but Victoria, she didn't panic. She watched me, like she was trying to solve me. When I finally stopped, the room felt smaller, tighter, charged. "Who are you?" she asked, not mocking this time, curious. That question should have felt good, respectful. Instead, it felt dangerous. Because answering meant exposing parts of myself I had locked away. "I was a master's candidate at Columbia," I said. "Germanic linguistics." A murmur moved around the table. She stepped closer. "And now you mop floors?" I met her eyes. "Now I pay hospital bills." That was the first crack. Not in me, in her. Something flickered across her face. Not pity. She wasn't the pity type. Understanding. And that unsettled me more than her sarcasm ever had. When Sarah confirmed my translation hours later, the boardroom erupted in relief. Victoria didn't celebrate. She dismissed everyone, except me. "Stay," she said. Just one word. The room emptied. Now it was only us. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Manhattan glowing behind her. Silence thick between us. She walked toward me slowly, heels clicking against marble. "You saved my company," she said. I shook my head. "I saved my job." Her lips twitched slightly. Almost a smile. Almost. "And if I offer you more than a job?" she asked. That was the moment everything shifted, because the way she said it, it didn't sound strictly professional. And for the first time in 3 years, I felt something I had promised myself I wouldn't. Possibility, which terrified me. Because possibility means something to lose, and I don't survive losing twice. I should have said yes immediately. Any sane man would have. But when Victoria stood there waiting for my answer, I didn't see a CEO. I saw risk. "And if I offer you more than a job?" she repeated, quieter this time. Her voice didn't echo in the boardroom anymore. It felt closer, personal. I swallowed. "Define more." Her eyes held mine a second too long. "A position directly under me," she said. "Director of International Contracts. Full authority, full benefits. Professional, clean, safe." But the air between us didn't feel safe, because she was still studying me like I was something unexpected, something that had disrupted her perfectly structured world. And I knew that look. It's the same look people give when they're trying to decide if something is valuable or dangerous. "I have a son," I said. It wasn't part of the negotiation, but it mattered. She didn't hesitate. "Then he'll have the best health coverage this company offers." Something in my chest tightened. Not attraction, not yet. Relief. The kind that makes your knees weak, when you've been holding everything together with duct tape and prayer. But then she stepped closer. Too close. "You should have been seen a long time ago, Daniel," she said softly. And that did something to me I wasn't prepared for, because no one had said my name like that in years, not since Elena. For a split second, guilt punched through me. I stepped back instinctively. Victoria noticed. Of course she did. Her expression changed. Not hurt, not offended, measured. "Did I cross a line?" she asked. There it was, uncertainty, in her, and that shook me more than her authority ever could. "You're my employer," I said carefully. Her lips curved slightly. "Not yet." Silence. Heavy, charged. Then her phone buzzed, breaking whatever fragile moment had started forming. She stepped away to answer it, and I exhaled, because I realized something dangerous. The job offer didn't scare me, the way she looked at me did, and I wasn't sure which one of us was about to make a mistake. I almost walked away. While she was on the phone, I almost picked up my mop and left the 45th floor like none of it had happened. That would have been safer, cleaner. But when Victoria ended the call, she didn't return to CEO mode. She leaned against the table instead, studying me. "You stepped back," she said calmly. "Why?" I hate direct questions. They force honesty. "My wife died 3 years ago," I answered. The words came out flat, controlled, but they carried weight. Her posture shifted. Not dramatic, just enough. "I'm sorry," she said. No corporate tone, no performance, just quiet. And that quiet did something to me, because people usually rush past that part. They don't sit in it. She was the brave one, I added before I could stop myself. I just stayed. Victoria didn't respond immediately. She walked closer again, slower this time. Not invading, approaching. "There's nothing weak about surviving," she said. Her voice was lower now, warmer, and I felt it, that subtle pull, the dangerous kind that doesn't announce itself. I cleared my throat. "This job, it changes everything." "Yes," she agreed. "It does." There was something in her eyes then. Not attraction exactly, recognition. Like she understood what it meant to build your life on control, because losing once nearly destroyed you. "You don't trust this," she observed. I gave a small humorless smile. "I don't trust sudden miracles." That almost smile touched her lips again. "Neither do I," she admitted. That surprised me. The powerful CEO admitting doubt. There it was, her crack, a flicker of vulnerability, and suddenly we weren't janitor and executive anymore. We were two people who had both lost something. Silence stretched between us again, not uncomfortable, just loaded. "If you take this position," she said carefully, "it's because you earned it. Not because I feel indebted." I nodded. "That matters." She stepped back, reclaiming her space. CEO again. "Monday 9 a.m., don't be late." I turned to leave, but at the door I paused, because I felt her watching me. And when I glanced back, our eyes locked. Not professional, not yet personal, just something beginning. And for the first time since Elena died, I wondered if protecting my son meant protecting my heart too. Monday morning felt like betrayal, not of the company, of my past. I stood outside Harrington Tower in a suit that didn't quite fit anymore, staring at the glass doors I used to enter through the service entrance. Same building, different door. My reflection looked unfamiliar, not a janitor, not yet an executive, just a man pretending he belonged. I kept hearing Elena's voice in my head. "Don't disappear inside other people's worlds, Daniel." And yet here I was, walking into hers. The lobby guard straightened when he saw me. "Morning, Mr. Martinez." "Mr. Martinez." That was new. I nodded, trying not to show how strange it felt. The elevator ride to the 40th floor was silent, but my pulse wasn't. I wasn't nervous about the job. I was nervous about her. When the doors opened, Sarah Bennett greeted me with a brief smile and a stack of files. "Welcome to the chaos," she said. "Victoria's waiting." Of course she was. I found her in her office by the window, sunlight cutting across the room. In daylight she looked different, less untouchable, still powerful, but human. She turned when I entered. "You're early." "I don't like being late." Her gaze lingered a second longer than necessary. I noticed. There it was again, that undercurrent, small, controlled, but real. She handed me a folder. "French acquisition. Preliminary draft? I want your eyes on it before anyone else." Before anyone else. The trust in that sentence hit harder than the salary ever could. "I'll review it immediately," I said. She didn't look away. "Daniel." The way she said my name again, measured, slower. "Yes?" "If at any point this feels like too much, tell me." That wasn't a CEO speaking. That was a woman acknowledging boundaries, and it softened something in me I had locked tight for years. "I can handle it," I replied. But I wasn't sure what I meant. The workload, or her, because as I left her office I realized something unsettling. I wasn't just stepping into a new position. I was stepping into her orbit. And proximity is dangerous when you're trying not to feel anything at all. By the end of the first week, I knew two things. I was good at this job, and Victoria Harrington was not as untouchable as the world believed. We worked late Thursday night reviewing the French contract. Most of the floor had emptied out. The city outside the windows glittered like it was pretending to be softer than it was. She stood beside my desk, leaning slightly over my shoulder, not close enough to touch, close enough to feel. This clause, I said, pointing to a paragraph. They're shifting regulatory risk onto us. It's subtle, but it's there. She didn't answer immediately. I could feel her reading. Then she exhaled slowly. How did we miss that? We didn't, I replied. You hired me. Silence. Then, unexpectedly, she laughed. Not the sharp boardroom version, a real one. It caught me off guard, and for a split second, I forgot to guard myself. She moved around the desk and sat on the edge facing me. You're different outside that boardroom, she said. So are you. That slipped out before I could stop it. Her eyebrow lifted slightly. Oh? You're less armored. The air changed. I shouldn't have said that. It felt too personal. But she didn't retreat. She held my gaze instead. And you, she said quietly, are less invisible. That hit deeper than it should have. Because she remembered. She noticed. I looked away first. Dangerous. This was getting dangerous. My son has a school conference next week, I said suddenly, changing direction. I might need to leave early. She nodded without hesitation. Family comes first. There was no corporate tone, no calculation, just certainty. And that certainty warmed something in my chest I had tried to keep cold. But then her phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen. Her expression shifted, tightened. Dinner, she muttered. Board members. I stood. You don't seem excited. I'm not, she admitted. It's performative. There it was again, vulnerability. But before I could respond, she straightened. CEO mask back in place. Good work tonight, Daniel. Professional again. Controlled. And as she walked out, I realized the tension between us wasn't fading. It was building, and neither of us had decided what to do about it. The first time I saw her outside the office, it wasn't planned. It was raining. Hard. I had just left Lucas's parent-teacher conference. Good reports, stable asthma, one proud dad moment in the hallway, when I spotted a familiar black car parked across the street. Victoria stepped out without an umbrella. Of course she did. Control doesn't cancel weather. She froze when she saw me standing under the awning of the school. For a second, we were both caught somewhere we didn't expect to be. You have a board dinner, I said before I could stop myself. Her lips curved faintly. I rescheduled. For this, I asked. She looked at the school entrance. My niece attends here, she said evenly. But something about her tone felt off, not dishonest, just incomplete. Lucas ran out the doors then, backpack bouncing, inhaler tucked safely inside. Dad! He stopped short when he saw her. Kids are intuitive. They sense energy adults pretend isn't there. Victoria crouched slightly, meeting his height. Hi, she said gently. You must be Lucas. He nodded cautiously. You're fancy. I almost laughed. She didn't. Sometimes, she admitted. Lucas studied her a moment longer. Then, without warning, he reached for my hand. Tighter than usual. Protective. That hit me harder than I expected. Victoria noticed. Of course she did. I won't keep you, she said, standing again. Just wanted to say hello. Just wanted to say hello to my son, or to me. Rain soaked into her coat, but she didn't seem to care. You didn't have to come, I said quietly. I know, she replied. That silence again, heavy, unspoken. Lucas tugged my hand. Dad, I'm hungry. Reality. Grounding. I nodded. We should go. Victoria's eyes lingered on me. Not boss to employee. Not executive to subordinate. Something more uncertain. Good night, Daniel, she said softly. And as she walked back to her car in the rain without looking back, I felt something shift. Because she hadn't come for business. And that meant this wasn't just professional anymore. The question was I ready for that? Lucas wouldn't stop talking about her. She didn't look mean, he said over spaghetti that night. Just serious. I tried to focus on twisting pasta around my fork. She's my boss, I reminded him. Lucas shrugged. She looked at you weird. That made me pause. Weird how? He squinted, thinking hard. Like when you look at Mom's picture. The fork slipped from my fingers. Kids don't know how sharp their words are. Eat, I said gently. But my chest felt tight. Because I had noticed it too. The way her eyes softened when she saw us together. The way she didn't correct Lucas when he called her fancy. The way she stood in the rain longer than she needed to. Later that night, after Lucas fell asleep, my phone buzzed. Victoria. A message. I hope I didn't overstep today. I stared at it longer than I should have. Honest. Careful. Vulnerable. I typed back slowly. You surprised me. 3 dots appeared almost immediately. Was that a bad thing? There it was again. Uncertainty. From her. And that unsettled me more than her authority ever did. I leaned back on the couch, staring at the ceiling. I don't mix work and personal easily, I replied. A long pause this time. Then, neither do I. That should have ended it. Professional boundaries reestablished. Safe. But another message came seconds later. Daniel, I respect you. Not just for what you did in that boardroom. For who you are. My throat tightened. No one had said that to me in years. Not as a man. Not as anything beyond responsibility. I hesitated before responding. Because once you step towards something, you can't pretend you didn't. This is complicated, I wrote. Her reply came slower now. Only if we make it reckless. That word lingered. Reckless. Was that what this was becoming? Or was it something slower? More deliberate? I put the phone down without answering, because I needed silence. But as I lay in bed staring at the dark ceiling, one truth pressed against my ribs. I wasn't afraid of scandal. I was afraid of hope. And hope is far more dangerous. I avoided her the next day. Not obviously. Just strategically. Meetings through Sarah. Emails instead of face-to-face reviews. Professional distance. Safe distance. But Victoria isn't a woman who misses patterns. At 6:40 p.m., when most of the floor had emptied out, she appeared in my doorway. You're dodging me, she said calmly. Not angry, certain. I kept my eyes on the contract in front of me. Busy. She stepped inside anyway and closed the door behind her. The soft click echoed too loudly. Daniel. There's something about the way she says my name when we're alone. Less authority. More intention. I don't want this to be a distraction, I said finally. For you? Or for me? Her jaw tightened slightly. Not defensive, thoughtful. You think I'm careless? She asked. No, I said quickly. I think you're powerful, and power complicates everything. Silence. She moved closer but stayed on the other side of my desk, respecting space. I haven't dated anyone in 5 years, she said quietly. That surprised me. I don't trust easily, she continued. And I don't blur lines. Her eyes held mine steadily, but I also don't ignore something real when I feel it. There it was. Not flirtation, not impulse, honesty, and that made it harder, because I felt it too. The tension that wasn't just attraction. It was recognition. 2 people who rebuilt themselves from loss. 2 people who understood control because chaos once destroyed them. My son comes first, I said. Good, she replied immediately. He should. No hesitation, no jealousy, just acceptance, and that softened something inside me again. But if we explore this, she added carefully, it happened slowly. Outside the office, no secrets, no games. Slow, careful, deliberate. My pulse picked up anyway. You're asking me on a date, I said quietly. Her lips curved slightly. I'm asking if you'd consider one. The room felt smaller, warmer, dangerous. I thought about Elena, about guilt, about the fear of losing something again. Then I looked at Victoria, steady, patient, not pushing, and I realized something. I wasn't afraid of her power. I was afraid of how safe I felt when she wasn't using it, and that kind of safety can undo a man. Dinner, I said finally. One dinner. Her smile wasn't triumphant. It was relieved. Friday, she replied. And as she walked out of my office, I knew this wasn't just a date. It was a risk, the kind you take when you're tired of surviving and ready to feel again. Friday came too fast. All week I told myself it was just dinner. 2 adults, no expectations, no promises. But when I stood outside the restaurant in Midtown, adjusting my tie like a nervous teenager, I knew that was a lie. I hadn't felt this unsteady in years. She arrived without an entourage. No assistant, no driver waiting by the curb, just Victoria, in a simple black dress, no armor, and for a moment I forgot every prepared sentence in my head. You look... I stopped. Careful. She tilted her head slightly. Different? Human, I admitted. That made her laugh softly. We sat by the window. The city buzzed outside, but inside everything felt suspended. No contracts, no titles, no power dynamics, just conversation. She asked about Elena, not cautiously, gently. And I told her. About hospital nights, about fear, about the promise I made beside a hospital bed. Victoria listened, not interrupting, not trying to fix it. When I finished, her voice was quiet. Loving someone like that doesn't disappear, she said. No, I agreed. It just changes shape. That sentence settled between us like something sacred. Does it scare you? She asked. Doing this again? Yes. Honest. She nodded slowly. Me too. There it was again. Not dominance, not control, mutual vulnerability. Halfway through dinner, my phone buzzed. Lucas's babysitter. My stomach dropped instantly. Victoria saw it in my face before I even answered. He's fine, the sitter said quickly. Just a mild asthma flare. Inhaler worked. He's watching cartoons. Relief flooded me so hard I had to sit back down. Victoria reached across the table without thinking and placed her hand over mine. Warm. Steady. Grounding. You can go, she said softly. I understand. But I didn't move, because something shifted in that moment. Not romance. Commitment. I want you to meet him, I said. Her eyes widened slightly. Not tonight, I added, and soon. Hope flickered there. Careful. Real. I'd like that, she replied. When we stepped outside, the city air felt different. Lighter. She didn't kiss me. I didn't try. Instead, she brushed her fingers lightly against mine. A promise, not a rush. And as I walked toward the subway, I realized something. The night she mocked me, she offered her salary. Tonight, she offered something far riskier. Patience. And for the first time since I lost everything, I wasn't just surviving, I was choosing.